My name is Dawn Grabowski, and I have a presentation today about the game of baseball. I'm going to try to keep it really basic for everyone, so here we go. Major League Baseball is condensed into the acronym MLB, and there are various teams within the MLB. There are 30 teams, and they're further divided into the National and American League. For the game of baseball, the three main things you need to play the game is a bat, a ball, and a glove. And the game can be played anywhere, but officially with either Little League teams or in the major leagues, there is an actual field. The dimensions of the field are really important. Starting with T-ball, obviously the field's smaller because it's little kids playing compared to major leagues. They have specific dimensions the field must be. In between the bases, that's 90 feet in between, and from home plate to the fence. In outfield, it can be between 290 feet to 400 feet. The bases, what I mentioned before, is where the players run around and have to touch when they are trying to score a run, and also where the opposing team that's in the field has to touch to tag the player out. On each side of the field, there is a line, and on that other side of the line going outward is called foul territory. And there always has to be two teams within the game of baseball. The players that are on the batting team, which is known as the offensive team, they are sitting on the bench and they are coming in to hit. And then they are players out in the field. They also wear two defining uniforms. The colors are normally opposite colors, or team colors. And there must be 10 players at all times on the field. 9 of those are for the fielding team and at least one player from the team that's at bat, which is the hitting team. There are at least 2 umpires for people kids are playing in Little League. There are normally about 2 umpires. In Major League Baseball, there's 3 and up to 4 sometimes. And there's always coaches for both teams. There are various types of coaches, either for hitting or a fielding coach. But there's at least one main coach for each team. And within the game, the time is determined by the innings. So there are 9 innings in Major League Baseball compared to in T-ball, there's normally about 3 or 4 because little kids tend to like to look at the flowers in the fields and they swarm towards the one ball instead of spreading out like they should be. So the fielding team, there are 9 players, so there's 9 positions. The infield positions consist of 6 positions, which is the pitcher, first baseman, second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, and the catcher. And then in outfield, there's right field, center field, and left field. And the goal of the game is to keep the batting team from scoring runs. And points is what runs are known as in baseball. From like football, it's a lot of times like touchdowns, but that's the terminology for baseball is runs. The batting team consists also of 9 players, and there's 9 people, which makes up the batting order. And every position bats, so it's very important that these players stay in order, because if they get out of order, it can be considered a penalty, and they can get in trouble for that. In batting, like I said before, the goal is to score runs. So the player stands in what is a batter's box, and you can see in the picture here, it's marked by white chalk lines. And the player, when they enter that batter's box, they are ready for the pitcher to throw the ball towards them. If once they step out of that, the time is being held, so it's inactive. They can't play. Also in the picture, you can see the player is staying there holding a bat, and then the catcher stands behind them. And then behind that player, there is an umpire who calls what the ball is being thrown at and determines if people are out or other important things. So scoring runs is done by the batter, and they run bases in a counterclockwise motion. So the goal is for the batter to hit the ball as far as they can and run around as many bases as possible before the ball gets to their next base to be tagging them out. And they can either advance one base at a time or as many as they can, but the next player behind them would try to hit them and advance that runner forward. They can also score runs with a home run, and that is when the ball is either hit all the way out of the park and there is no longer in play, so they can go from home plate all the way around to home plate again, or they either can run all the way around all the bases before the fielding team can get the ball thrown in to try to get them out. With the pitcher, they try to throw balls or strikes, and the umpire determines what the ball is when it comes in, and they have what's called a strike zone. And in that strike zone, if it's in the center of it or inside of it, it's considered a strike. If it's outside really far, then it's called a ball. Sometimes pitchers don't want a certain player hitting the ball hard because they know that that player is very good at hitting and can possibly get a home run. They have a tendency to do that. So they may throw the ball way far out so the player won't hit it, and therefore it will only be given a walk, which is when they advance a base without hitting it. So with outs, I've mentioned that a lot. There are 3 outs before the outfield changes and becomes the hitters. So you can get an out by either a batter's hit. When they hit the ball goes flying in the air, and that gets caught by a team and a player in the field. Or the pitcher throws 3 strikes in a row, which is the strikes in that strike zone. Another option is a runner trying to advance around the bases gets thrown out. So the fielding team throws the ball to that base they're trying to advance to and is tagged before they touch that base. And then the fielding team, like I said, becomes the batting team. The batting team goes into the field. So hand signals play a big part in baseball, and when I was doing research for this, I actually kind of learned this in deaf culture a couple years ago. It was first done, a lot of you know about Dummy Hoy, Edward Dummy Hoy. He invented baseball signs to be able to communicate with the coaches, and that started off when he signed with a team out in Ohio. And it was really interesting to see how it carried over to Major League Baseball and how coaches use that today. So oftentimes coaches will have a batter standing in the box, they're ready, and the coach may signal to them, I want you to hit the ball to right field, or I want you to hit the ball to the shortstop, because they know maybe that player is weaker in that position and the hitter might be able to run fast enough to get to the base. They also may have them bunt the ball, so that forces the players to run in and try to get the ball and throw the person out at first base. So I thought it was just really interesting, and they have these were the old signs that were used as the picture on the screen. And today they have a lot of hand signals that are made up so that they are disguised, the other team doesn't know what's going to happen. And this is just a picture of Fenway Park. It's in Boston, Massachusetts, so it's the home of the Red Sox. I'm a Red Sox fan, and it's just a really beautiful park. And I want to talk about the field a little bit. The outfield, like I said, has different distances, and the fields are built differently depending on where they're located. So if they're in a city like Boston, I've also been to the Phillies Stadium. That's also in the city, so their fields tend to be smaller because they don't have the area outside to have a lot of room. Each dugout, the home team is always on the right side of the field, so that's where they're located, and the opposing team, the away team is what they're called, is on the left side of the field. And a lot of the billboards and stuff on the sides have sponsors that support the team, and a lot of people always wear their team colors. So I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and thank you.